How's it going? Welcome back, my beautiful sinners, to another great and majestical and fantastical video here on The Savior Show. That's right. Now, today I have got beautiful, old-style Fable gameplay footage for you today, my sinners. So I'm not going to show you a facecam video, but rest assured that I am still doing all the wacky, crazy Savior hand movements that I normally do because I'm absolutely insane. So don't worry about that. But today, my sinners, we are discussing one of my most beloved franchises of my childhood, okay? I grew up on Fable. It was the game that really hooked me and made me really interested in the whole gaming industry and stuff like that. Now, if you're not aware what Fable is, pretty much it's an old style RPG, and it was one of the first 3D games, I should say. Not one of the first, actually. There's plenty of them before, like, you know, Morrowind, for example, or whatever. But, you know, Fable was really trying to, initiate a new kind of trend when it came to do with video games, which was, of course, player choice and, morality, okay? So it really dealt with, the player choices, if you're going to be a good person, if you're going to be a bad person, it was quite simple. It wasn't too diverse. It wasn't trying to cover a lot of gray area like Fallout does, which is why I loved the Fallout franchise so much. Fable was more about the black and white decisions, but it did it in such a charming way that just absolutely pulled me in straight away when I was a kid, and I would play this so goddamn much when I was a child. I absolutely loved it. I loved the music. The music was just magical, and this was a very British orientated, humor game, and as a British man myself, I really enjoyed that because, there weren't too many games, that are solely focused for the British marketplace, I suppose. A lot of it is, USA stuff and USA kind of humor, but this really got the British kind of dark and weird and silly, flamboyant kind of humor of, Britain, which is pretty cool. Now, obviously, it was a little bit too childish at some point. You could do all these weird gestures and, fart in front of people and stuff like that and belch. But as a kid, that's hilarious. I absolutely loved that. And you could get cool different names. You could be a chicken chaser by kicking chickens, but you could also go down a really dark route. So it had lots of different avenues, which, made it so interesting to play. And back then, we didn't see many games like that where, you had such different choices in your actions and who you wanted to become, and not only did the people react to who you were becoming as you played. What was really cool was it actually changed your physical appearance. So if you were an evil person, slowly you would become more paler, more deformed, more just looking kind of sickly. And then as time goes on, you're just getting slowly corrupted, your soul is getting more and more evil. You actually grow horns, and you look like a demon, and that's pretty cool. Now, I always obviously played as the bad sinner, not the savior. Now maybe I would try and be a good little boy, but it was very difficult for me back in the day. I just couldn't help resist doing the evil choices, and sometimes the evil choices you might think are actually the good choices, or you might think that the good choices are actually the evil choices. That's what made it so interesting, is, it did deal with the kind of moral dilemma. So, although it was a child-focused game, it really did appeal to, these hard decisions that you have to make in life, and I really did love that. And of course, the whole atmosphere of this world being so unique, not like anything we've seen before. It had its own history, its own lore, of Albion. It was very different compared to other things we've seen. It was a completely new franchise, and that's why I loved it so much, okay? So, if you're not aware, my sinners, the reason why I'm talking about Fable is because recently the new Fable 4 has been announced, okay? It wasn't that recent, I just completely missed it. I'm a little bit late, I have to admit, but I want to talk about it still, because for me, personally, I've been waiting for Fable for so long. For Fable 4, I thought it was never gonna happen. So, if you don't know the backstory, pretty much Lionhead made 3 Fable games, made a few spin-offs, but they were all terrible. Trash, in my opinion. The Kinect. Remember when that was a thing, the Kinect? Obviously, it didn't sell well. They did a few weird, spin-offs with Kinect, and they also did this Albion Online. but all of that stuff was trash, okay? Obviously, it was the 3 main Fable games that the people loved and what was so popular, and Lionhead Studios, they made Fable 1, Fable 2, and Fable 3. Now, Fable 3 was very highly criticized, shall I say, because it went in directions that, kind of ruined the Fable franchise, okay? It didn't have the same loving charm like the first 2 did. The first 2 were great, okay? It made it way too easy in Fable 3, just from a gameplay standpoint. The story was kind of predictable, and, the choices were good, but they didn't seem to have much of a, they were kind of just too black and white. It didn't have any of that complex, morale choices like Fable 1 and Fable 2 had. It all felt kind of more linear in a way, even though it was trying to be more open, and a lot of people criticized it for basically just how it didn't really update itself from Fable 2 and Fable 1. Now, personally, my favorite one is, of course, Fable 1, just from a simple nostalgia point of view, and I honestly think it has the best story, it has the best, kind of direction that it was trying to focus for. It had a really unique charm about it that not any, of these new games can really combat. It was just truly a magical journey for me, especially as a child, and now, going back and playing it, I still love it. I still love the music. The music in Fable is just absolutely beautiful, and all this weird humor, but mixed in with this dark, kind of cynical British, I don't know, we're pretty sick people, the British people are, okay? So, it just really gets all of that in, and it's just such a beautiful package. And Fable 2, that was a very beloved game as well, with, the addition to have your own pet, your own dog, and if you're good or if you're bad, the dog actually changes on how you act, which is pretty cool. But it wasn't really much of a big focus feature. Now, obviously, you could even have families, you could get married, you could even have kids. So what was so cool is, you could do all this different stuff, and if you were really crazy and sick, you could, if you wanted to, not saying I did it, but, if you wanted to, you could burn down your entire family. I mean, there's not many games where you can do that. It's pretty incredible, especially for, back in its day. Now, that was introduced in Fable 2 and Fable 3, I think. But, what I'm trying to say is it felt like a very lived-in and breathing world, and it was just such a joy to play. But Fable 3 kind of flopped. It didn't really pull off the same magic as Fable 1 and Fable 2 did. The combat, like I said, was a big complaint. And, yeah, they just made the whole magic system too overpowered. Now, Fable 2 I really loved, but a lot of people didn't like the additions of having guns, didn't like the way it was kind of drawing parallels with our own world and the technology moving forwards. But I quite like that because, like I said, there weren't many fantasy games set with, kind of like an industrial period with fantasy elements. So it had a really unique charm, and I actually liked the addition of, seeing the history progress in the world of Albion. Now, let's go to the present day. Fable has died, okay? It died for a long time. It's been years since we've seen anything come from the world of Albion, okay? Like I said, Lionhead Studio was completely shut down, which is very disappointing. But I was waiting, I was holding out hope so much for the release of Fable 4, and thank God that now it is finally coming, okay? But there's a big but, okay? It's not made by the same people. It's not going to be made by the same development, obviously, so it's not going to have the same unique charm, okay? The music, I'm sure, will change hands. It's not going to be the same composer. So, that was a big part for me, was the music, because it had a really unique sound direction and just this really unique fantasy element, with the music, which I absolutely loved. And yes, we know it's still going to try and, emulate Fable, but I don't think it's going to really do justice to what could have been Fable 4 if, it happened earlier. This is basically a soft reboot of the franchise. So, yes, it's a British game company, which is cool, so hopefully they can still capture the essence of Fable, but that is pretty much all it's going to be. It's an essence. It's not going to be, the Fable that we wanted, but I still think it's going to be good. And, I'm really hoping that, a next-gen Fable game, I can't even imagine what that is going to look like, but I really hope that they pull it off. I really hope, I've heard rumors that it might be an MMO. I really hope that doesn't happen. I want, a rich story, single-player driven experience. I don't want any of this MMO bullshit that just kind of takes you out of the immersion of the world and the choices. I'm sure it's still gonna heavily focus on choices and how you interact with the world. There's obviously gonna be new combat because obviously, times have changed. It would be cool if it did more of a Dark Souls-y combat and made the combat more difficult. And I really hope that they keep the humor in, because yes, there were darker moments, but what made it so good was the humor and all the silly stuff that you could do in between things, like have a family or get married or whatever, or you could be caught cheating. I mean, that's what was so good about it. So I really hope that they keep all this stuff in the game, but obviously it's going to be very different. It's not going to be the same beautiful Fable that we wanted, and I honestly do believe that, and that's why I'm holding my expectations, because it's not going to be what I imagined. I'm pretty sure of that. And yeah, I feel like they're going to change the lore and the history of Albion as well, which is a shame, because I feel like they did such a good job of building this universe up. But now they're going to change it so much, so we're going to see things that we never knew existed, which is cool, but I just hope they don't make it too, futuristic or something, just something weird, because I've heard rumors that it's going to be, jumping from planet to planet. You're not going to be focused on Albion, because apparently Albion might be destroyed and you'll have to travel to different worlds and stuff like that, which sounds pretty cool. But I really want them to expand on the world of Albion and build up the same history and the same, rich detail that the first 3 games had, and really expand on that. I hope they don't do a complete reset. So honestly, I can't say what's going to happen. Obviously, gameplay is going to be much improved, but I really hope that they keep the foundations that made it so good in, and they don't hold your hand, they don't make it too AAA, like an open world game like Assassin's Creed, where you've got to focus on finding pointless things and there's a massive HUD and it doesn't draw you in with the same immersion. That's what I'm scared of. I'm sure that they're going to go down the same route that all these fancy open world Ubisoft games go down, and that's going to destroy it. So that's why I don't have huge expectations, because I'm pretty sure it's going to get the modern day treatment. And, the modern day treatment on a Fable game will ruin it, because what made it so charming was the fact that it was so diverse and detailed and had all these different things going on, but it wasn't obvious to you. It wasn't, trying to do too much. It just did what it was trying to do really well. So I hope that they keep that in. I hope they keep the same history and the same lore and the same magic stuff, all that stuff. I hope they keep it and just expand on it instead of completely resetting it. But from what I've heard, it could be a complete reset and a complete change. So we'll just have to see what happens. But I'm holding out hope, because I'm a huge fan of Fable. And, honestly, if they mess it up, I'm going to be very disappointed, because they're pretty much playing with my emotions, my childhood right now. And, there's not many things that really, I care about when it comes to do with the gaming industry. It's just there, whatever. Ratchet and Clank, they absolutely milked that. But, I wasn't too much emotionally attached to it. But Fable is it's like my baby, okay? I love it very much. It holds such precious memories for me just growing up. So I really hope that they just don't lose what made it so special. But I'm sure I will. Because just look at this. Yes, it looks dated. Yes, it looks, kind of weird and wacky. But, even now, it just has such a unique vibe to it. And that's what made Fable so special. A lot of people thought that Fable wasn't actually that great, and that they could have done more with it. But I think, nowadays they focus on trying to do so many different things. But if you have all these cool details and you actually pull them off really well, that's what made it so special, and just the atmosphere of it. And I just hope that they don't completely change the foundation of it, and they keep all the things that made it so good. And yeah, hopefully then it will be amazing. But I'm pretty sure it's going to get a very modernized treatment, and that might destroy the franchise. But hey, we'll see. Anyway, my sinners, that is the new Fable game coming out pretty soon. I don't know when it's going to come out, probably in 2021. I hope it comes to PC, but as far as we know, it's only going to be on Xbox. But eventually, Fable 1 did come out on the PC, and so did the Anniversary Edition. So I'm holding out hope that it is on the PC, because that would be much better, obviously. But yeah, I am excited, and I honestly think that Fable needs a fresh start and, to become new and join the new generation. But I just wish that it kept the same developers behind it, but sadly, that isn't the case. So we're just going to have to see what happens. You know, Halo, for example, was amazing, and I feel like the new studio kind of destroyed it. So it could be the same situation with Fable. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I am very hyped for the new Fable game. I'm very looking forward to it, and I just can't wait to see what they do with not Halo, sorry, with Fable 4. And hopefully it's gonna be as good as I hope it's gonna be. But we'll just have to see. But yeah, Fable 4 is here, and you know, I'm pretty excited for it. I think it should be pretty amazing. So we'll just have to see if Fable 4 is amazing or if it's gonna be bad. Only time will tell. Anyway, my sinners, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like and subscribe and share this video around if you're a Fable enthusiast like myself. And I'll see you in the next video. Have yourselves a blessed day. Peace out. Bye bye.